Hey there, this is Matt with Revive Builds, and in this video I want to show you how I built this modern coffee table. This build was at a client's request, so once we nailed down the shape, I went to my local hardware supplier, Forest Product Supplies, for the wood top. They're actually a cabinet shop, but they always have extra lumber in stock to sell to the public. Now for this top, I'm using 5/4 white oak. I started with this thickness so that after all the sanding was done, the top would still be about an inch thick. Now in order to glue up the boards, I cut the pieces to rough length and joined the sides. Now you can see me here using a biscuit joiner to help align the planks so I can minimize sanding of potentially uneven boards to make sure I had a 1-inch thickness overall. Now after leaving the top to dry overnight, I took the board back to Forest Product Supply and had them run it through their time saver or wide belt sander. This machine is amazing. It's well worth the small fee to get this top nice and level. Now that I had a flat piece to work with, it was time to lay out the shape and cut it out with a jigsaw. Now I don't have a jigsaw and it was winter, so my garage was pretty cold. So I went to my local tool library to cut out the shape. Now since the jigsaw leaves a pretty rough edge, I made sure to keep the pencil line as I will use the router to trim to final size. I used a flush trim bit, or also called a pattern bit, and this allowed me to create a perfect oval from a template I had made prior. Now after trimming to size, I did notice I made a mistake and I put the biscuits too close to the end and cut right through 2 of them, leaving them exposed on the edges. Now the router left some burn marks, so I cleaned them up with a handheld sanding block, but looking back, I could have skipped this step and gone straight to the router for the bevel. Now the client wanted a strong 45-degree bevel on the edges, which actually looks pretty nice. Now side note, I started this project with maple and had a lot of problems, so this was my second shot and I was able to learn from my mistakes. I made sure not to go against the grain as much as possible so I could avoid tear out. Now I also took multiple passes with the router in order to get to the final bevel depth that was desired. Now with the top being an inch thick, to make a pleasing bevel, I had to go past the capacity of the router bit so that I left this ridge. Now I was able to sand this ridge down and create a nice continuous bevel. Now for those exposed biscuits on the side, I ended up drilling them out and then filling them with oak plugs. As you can see here, I'm flushing them up. At first, I was a little worried about how this was all going to turn out and if I was going to be able to cover up the mistake. But in the end, the plugs turned out pretty well, and with some dark stain, they're going to be pretty hard to find. I stained the table with 2 coats of early American stain, which is a nice dark color and really helps bring up the strong grain of oak. Now in order to seal the table, I used wipe on poly, and I did 2 coats on the bottom and 4 coats on the top. Now as I was about to put the hairpin legs on the tabletop, I noticed that because of the oval shape of the top, the hairpins actually overhung the sides of the table. So I needed to trim the corners of the hairpin legs in order to prevent them from being seen. Now here I was grinding all my cuts, making sure they were nice and smooth. This is something I definitely wasn't expecting to run into. I painted all the edges of the hairpin legs where I'd cut, and then I fastened these legs to the tabletop and we were done. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.